All right, I think we're live.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm Patty Miner, the COO at Xtropy Search Marketing. We're thrilled to be presenting this webinar to you today with Google. And just a couple of logistics. At any point in the webinar, you have the option to send us your questions. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of your window. Click that button and you can send in your questions to us. We'll be collecting all the questions and answering them at the end of the presentation. Okay, let's get started. Our topic today is how to boost energy efficiency audits using Google's full funnel approach. We've got a packed agenda today. We'll begin with funnel basics, teach you how to implement a strategic funnel, cover important audience targeting, and learn about partnering with us. And finally, answer any questions that you may have. And now for the presentation, I'd like to introduce Eric Geibel from Google.
Thanks,
Eric?
Patty. Hey, thanks, Patty. Really appreciate you having me attend today. Really excited to speak and provide some relevant information in terms of some of the things that Google is seeing in the energy industry, as well as more so focusing on how consumers behave, their purchase decisions, and how the internet plays a vital role in that, and how Google's advertising solutions can help your business capitalize on these consumers' behaviors. Just as a bit of background on me, I am a digital education specialist here at Google. I partner extremely closely with Xtropy to help advise and guide any of their new clients on what an effective digital strategy with Google looks like. I work very closely with both Jim and Patty. I have weekly calls with them, and really excited for this webinar as I think we have a lot of really great information that we're going to convey to all of today's attendees. So with that being said, I'll turn things over to Jim. You'll hear from me a little bit more later, but really excited to be here.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. And thank you all so much for attending. I can't wait to share with you what we have on tap today. So obviously, I'm the CEO of Xtropy Search Marketing. We work with energy clients to communicate and engage with your customers and prospects. We develop strategies surrounding paid search campaigns that support your goals. And with that, I'll go ahead and kick this off and we'll jump into our funnel basics. So here's kind of what we've seen in 2019. Energy prices are expected to rise 3.2% this year. That's the highest jump in 5 years. So with those added cost pressures, residential customers are looking to seek relief. They're trying to find solutions to higher bills and things like that. Residential energy audits are a great way to build customer satisfaction as well as lower your grid demand. Nationwide, I actually just saw this statistic at the Houston Cron on Wednesday. Nationwide, customer satisfaction scores of IOUs in muni electric and gas utilities fell 2.7% year over year, and now ranks the same as health insurance and airlines. Pretty poor. We tend to think, and there's studies that have shown that energy audits help improve that customer satisfaction, and so hopefully your energy utility won't decline into that neighborhood. Ultimately, customers care about saving money and also saving energy, and that interest is increasing. You can see the dramatic changes that we've seen just in the last 5 years, and that information is pretty compelling. Here's a persona of a typical energy utility customer. This is Claire. She's in Michigan. This is over a 57-day period. She had 25 total touch points. And it might include things like, why is my energy bill so high? Searches on her mobile device, through another search, maybe on her mobile device, on ways to reduce energy usage at her home. She may look up her energy utility to see if she can find some relief from her energy utility. And ultimately, the goal for us as marketers is to help her find that solution to her challenges and to her problem without having to call the call center. So she may end up with something like window weatherization and investigate into that. And with that, Eric's going to walk you through some more details that he's seeing on the Google side of things.
Awesome. And Jim, if you could just pass over the screen share to me, I will take over here. And I now have those controls. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate it. So ultimately, at the end of the day, as a business owner, or as a key marketer at an energy and utility company, what you should be focusing on is the customer. So Google firmly believes that you should focus on the customer and all else will follow. If you think about your daily lives, there's a massive increase in connectivity, whether it's a mobile device, whether it's a smart home, whether it's a smart speaker. All consumers now have tons of access to various different touch points from a digital perspective in terms of where they can get information, how they can consume content. So as a business owner, you should be thinking about all of those different touch points throughout the marketing funnel that you could interact with your consumers at. For the purposes of today's conversation, though, I want to talk to you about 3 key pillars about how customers act today due to the increased connectivity. The first thing is customers are much more curious about what's going on from an energy and utility bill perspective. A recent example of this is I live in California. For those of you that can know the energy space very well, you'll obviously understand who my energy provider is. And I recently got hit with my February bill. It was for $192. And obviously I was very surprised with how expensive my energy bill was. So the first thing that I did was I immediately went on my mobile device after seeing my bill online to do some investigation. Here are some of the recent industry trends that we're seeing from a Google perspective in terms of the energy and utility space, right? So as part of this investigation on my phone, I went on YouTube and I searched how to lower my energy bill. I also searched for how to better utilize my Nest, which is actually a Google product, in order to increase energy efficiency. I'm like a lot of people. There are 71 million videos on YouTube for topics related to energy consumption. Additionally, on mobile devices, in 2018, on searches on Google in 2018 related to anything energy and utility related, 61% of the time those searches were done on a mobile device. So from a business perspective, think about what your mobile site looks like. What do you offer on your mobile site versus that of a desktop site? Additionally, consumers are much more curious about whether or not energy efficiency programs are going to work. So over the last 2 years, videos with the title, "Does It Work?" grew more than 1,100% on YouTube. And then finally, an important thing to keep in mind is searches for best on Google grew 80% on mobile. So people want to have a clear understanding of what the best solutions are available for them. So as energy and utility companies, it's really important when thinking through ways to interact with your customer that you think about these various different trends in terms of the fact that your consumers are much more curious now more than ever, and they turn to Google's properties across channel and across device. And so when I mean across channel, Google has 7 platforms with over 1 billion users each. So as Jim will talk about later on, there's multiple different ways in which you could reach these users, and then cross device. Obviously, because you're logged into your Gmail account, Google Maps, YouTube, Google is able to continue serving messaging to you, whether you're on your desktop or your mobile device. In addition to being more curious, it's super important to note that customers today are more demanding than ever. They expect a lot more from all of their experiences. An example that I always like to share on webinars like this is I remember back in the day in 1998 when you would have AOL as your internet service provider. You would utilize a dial-up modem to connect to the internet, and at that point in time, you were really satisfied. What I think is most interesting is, say for example, I was going to get directions to a various different location. I would utilize my AOL dial-up modem, go to mapquest.com, type the address that I was going to, print out the directions in terms of how to get there, and then figure it out from there. Fast forward to a world 20 years later in 2019, in which customers are much more demanding. They simply turn to their mobile device, type in where they're trying to go, and Google Maps or Apple Maps will immediately get them there on their device with real-time directions, right? Think of, from a business perspective, how is the way in which you've provided information about energy efficiency audits, how has that changed? Your consumers are going to be much more demanding in terms of what you provide to them on your website and the capabilities that you're going to offer to them as consumers. So it's important to note that. Some interesting facts about kind of the more demanding consumer is 63% of people in the United States expect brands to provide personalized experiences based upon past interactions with your business, right? So an example of this is if I go to Google right now and search energy audit, what Google tries to do is, based upon who I am as a consumer, is provide me a personalized experience on Google search related to energy audits. So what we try to do is we try to, one, define what an energy audit is, provide information about should you get an energy audit, and then you could also see from a knowledge graph perspective, what Google does is we think of the top questions that people search for. We think of the top questions that people search for as it relates to energy audit and provide that information ahead of time to our users without even being prompted as much. So things such as, how much does it cost to get a home energy audit? Are energy audits free? What is the need for an energy audit? So on and so forth. So from a business perspective, if you want to really own your business and be an effective marketer, right, ensure that your website provides a highly personalized and relevant experience to each user based upon their past interactions with you. Super, super important to note that. And there's a lot of ways in which you could utilize Google's ad products in order to differentiate those users and provide relevant messaging that way. The final piece about today's customer is, I'm sure a lot of you on this webinar today are like me, and today's customer is more impatient than ever. So over the past 2 years, searches related for tonight and today have grown 150% on mobile devices on Google. So from a marketing standpoint, right, what sort of expectation are you providing your consumers and your clients when providing audits? Could you think through ways in which you could do an automated questionnaire on your website to quickly and immediately provide your consumers with some sort of initial audit based upon your knowledge of them from their energy bill perspective, understanding of their square footage? Could you utilize some sort of other technology to immediately give them some sort of quick answer versus having to immediately send out a technician to their home because people are more demanding and more impatient than ever? Additionally, mobile searches for wait times grew over 120% over the last 2 years. So it's highly, highly important for you guys as marketers, if your consumers want to have high brand favorability and high interest in working with you guys in the future, that you provide accurate information in terms of how long it will take to get someone out to their house to provide an energy audit, what will go into the energy audit, and the benefits associated with doing an energy audit. So with that being said, really, we believe that today's customers and consumers, from a Google standpoint, we're seeing that they're more curious, more demanding, and more impatient. So let's talk about ways in which you could capitalize on that. I've talked about a couple of different ideas that I have specifically for your industry, but at a high level, here are some things that all digital marketers should be thinking about. There's 3 key principles to effectively reach your customers. 1, you need to be there. 2, you need to be valuable. And 3, you need to be quick. What do I mean by that? So being there. So you need to connect with your customers during key moments of need. A key moment of need for me recently was when I got that extremely high electricity bill due to extremely high electricity bill that I got in the mail. Obviously, February is the coldest time of the year. Heating, electricity, it adds up. But I immediately searched for my energy and utility company on my mobile device and was able to immediately locate their website, easily access information about my account, and understand what contributed to the increased bill and the increased usage. That prevented me from immediately calling or reaching out to my energy and utility company, which in turn save them money. If you're not showing up on Google search, or if you're not providing relevant information on Google search, which Jim will talk to you about in a little bit more detail later on today, you're going to not be there for your customers. So it's really, really important that you are able to be there and can connect with your consumer most at their moment of need. Otherwise, they're going to be very unhappy, and it's going to cost your business time and money. Specifically for the energy and utility industry, I wanted to provide some insight in terms of when peak search times occurred. So when are the most searches happening for energy and utility businesses? So if you look at the graph on the bottom, queries are essentially searches on Google. So what you'll see, June through October is the time in which consumers are searching most and actively seeking out additional information about their energy and utility bills. The CPC is basically the cost per click, so how competitive it is to play in the Google auction on Google search. And what we want to do is we want to work with you and educate you on your specific energy and utility company specifically to allocate ads budget based upon when people are searching for you to ensure that you are always there, always relevant, and always showing up for your customers. The next piece is about being valuable, right? So you want to create valuable experiences wherever your customers are. So on your website, what is your website like? Are you making it really easy for your consumers to understand what goes into their bills on a monthly basis? Are you making it very easy for them to understand what the audit process would look like? Do you have examples of past audits? Do you have video on your website that talks about the benefits associated with audits or things that they could do on their own to improve energy efficiency within their own homes without having to make massive adjustments to those homes? Really important that you have valuable experiences on your website. And then what we can do is based upon what a user is searching or based upon what content someone's consuming online, we could pair an ad to that valuable piece of information on your website based upon our understanding of the user's past behavior on Google and their past behavior and interaction on your website to ensure that we have a very valuable interaction for your brand with that consumer at every point of the touch point, as Jim alluded to with the example with Claire earlier on in today's webinar. The final piece is be quick, right? It's really, really important that you're fast. Me personally as a consumer, if a website doesn't load fast enough on my mobile device, I'm most likely going to give up on that business, right? The general rule of thumb that Google advises is your mobile site needs to load in 3 seconds or less. If your mobile site does not load in 3 seconds or less, you will lose out on that consumer's intent. And more likely than not, what will happen is your call center is going to be getting a phone call, which is then going to cost human capital and cost your business time. Whereas the goal of an effective digital campaign for energy and utility companies is to prevent having to utilize your own internal capital. So the advice that I always give anyone that's considering working with Google is to go to Think with Google. And then we have we have a way in which you can test your mobile site speed. So you could think of testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com is the website to visit. You could enter in your company's URL and it'll give you a high-level mobile speed audit and some suggestions in terms of what you can do in order to make your site more mobile friendly and load faster for your consumers. So in summary, utilities must tap into customer intent by being valuable, by being there, and being quick. If you do all of this, you're going to have more effective energy efficiency audits for your business, and you are going to be a much more effective marketer and be better viewed in the eyes of your consumer. So that being said, I'm going to pass things back to Jim, and he's going to talk to you in more detail about how to put these principles into place and implement a strategic funnel for your energy and utility company.
Great. Thanks, Eric. Let flip ahead here. So let's get down into the nitty gritty on what this funnel looks like. A lot of agencies will be reluctant to share kind of their secret sauce, but we're going to go ahead and share it with you right here on this webinar. We are a full Google agency. Almost every tactic that we run is through Google. We have a few other ad partners that we work with, but primarily our spends are all through Google. And that's because it's tried and true. There's a couple things that we like about Google. First of all, their flexibility. We can start and stop at any time. There's no minimum buys. It's extremely cost efficient. It's cost efficient because it's run on an auction system. Eric mentioned that before. All of the ads, all of your clicks are purchased on an auction, so you're bidding against other advertisers. That means there's no artificial markup on your ad spend. You're not paying for additional ad serving fees or anything like that. You can save on your creative design cost by utilizing their responsive text ads and their display ads that they provide at no cost. It's really quick to deploy, so there's not a lot of staff time. There's not a lot of churn and extra billings. And we have tons and tons of control. So again, we can manipulate whatever we need to do on the fly. It happens in real time. That's something that we don't typically see in other digital buys. And then, of course, Google's got some pretty unique targeting capabilities, and we'll go into those later on in this presentation. But there's some stuff out there that Google has access to that grants us access to that nobody else is really doing in the industry. So that's great to see. And then obviously, the flexibility in bidding gives us the opportunity to really optimize on what the campaign goals are. So we can optimize on a plethora of different bidding strategies or even engagement objectives. And the magic at Google begins to kick in and kind of gets us to our goal, which is great. Here's just an example of a residential acquisition campaign that we ran a couple years ago. And the results that we're seeing are pretty typical for other campaigns that we've run, which is why we decided to run everything through Google. You can see here that our CPA on Google search was $6.68. We ran some GSP or some Gmail sponsored promotion ads through Google as well. And we had a $23 CPA. The next closest was programmatic at $25. Paid social was not even on the chart, and digital radio we couldn't even track. So you can see that time and time again, when we see these types of results, we tend to just focus and concentrate on what's working for our customers. And for better, for worse, that seems to be everything Google related. So what's a funnel look like for Google? Google's got lots of ad products. A lot of them people don't even know about. And so as we begin to think about how do we tackle each section of a customer's journey in their particular sales funnel, what tactics do we need to apply to that? And you can see on the upper funnel, top of funnel, TOFU, some people refer to it, the awareness section, Google Display Network or GDN, which is one of the largest, if not the largest display network on earth. We can tackle them with display ads. TrueView video ads on YouTube are also a great inexpensive way to kind of build that awareness around a program. At the consideration phase, we're using GSP or Gmail ads to advertise proactively directly into people's email inboxes, which is great. And then, of course, using GDN remarketing. So people who have been to particular portions or sections of our website, who have maybe landed on our landing page but not converted yet, we can bring them back in and message to them with additional layers of messaging through GDN remarketing. And then at the conversion level, we're really using branded search, target keyword search, and then search remarketing. So people who have hit the landing page and are typing in keywords that are relevant to, but not exactly related to our objective, we're able to bring those people back into the funnel and capture that conversion at the bottom of the funnel there. And then, of course, as we go into the maintain and expand, we're using a lot of things like customer match audiences, so taking email addresses that we have in our CRM and leveraging those email addresses to target people through different tactics. Gmail ads are great for reaching back out to people directly into their email inbox, and then our remarketing lists and lookalike lists as well. So tactically speaking, how do we apply this? When it comes to the awareness phase of the funnel, Again, we're using a lot of inexpensive and proactive tactics like TrueView for video ads on YouTube, and then display banner ads, either static or animated, through GDN's partner websites. You'll need to keep in mind that most of your customers won't know that an energy efficiency audit is even available to them. They don't know that that's an option. So you'll need to highlight that it's available to them, and also what the cost savings benefits are for that particular customer to get them engaged with what's going on and how can it help them. Once they have that awareness and they begin the consideration phase, using remarketing and audience lists to help push that value prop for an EE audit while that person's in the middle of the funnel is really key. We got to kind of keep that momentum alive. And so we'll use tactics like GSP, which allows us to target people who have a Gmail inbox, and that could be either Gmail for their personal use or G Suite on their business use. A lot of companies out there using G Suite as their website and email backbone. And then also targeting people through GDN ads, both static and animated, through GDN's partner websites, which includes millions of web pages and websites out there that we have access to. Now that people are beginning to think about, okay, I'm ready to pull the trigger, what do I need to do? I understand that I have a problem, and I know that there's solutions out there that fix that problem. We need to have a place to capture all of those bottom of the funnel hand raisers, people who are ready to engage with you as an energy utility. And so we're utilizing text ads on google.com and remarketing text ads on google.com, similar to the example that you see on your screen. Someone goes to Google, they type in energy audit, they're hit with an ad from Tampa Electric or whatever your energy utility is, allows them to come to your specific landing page, and then we can capture and measure that conversion on that page. So let's kind of walk through like your average customer's daily journey. A lot of this may resonate with you. It's 7 o'clock at night, you're flipping through YouTube, you're about to go to bed, you're watching videos, and all of a sudden you're hit with a video ad impression that's outlining the benefits of an energy efficiency audit. And we've targeted that person because they fit a certain sociographic, demographic audience that we're trying to hit within your service area. And so they're issued a video ad that begins to spark some thinking. They wake up the next morning, they're using their Google Assistant or Google Home, say, okay, Google, how do I lower my energy bill? I've noticed that my bill is getting higher and higher as we get into the cold months or into the hot months. They're learning things about whatever Google Assistant issues them. They're thinking about it more. Later on that day, they see a banner ad impression, maybe at work. Later on that afternoon, they're checking their email, and now they've been exposed to a GSP ad or a Gmail sponsored promotion asking them to register for a free energy audit through your energy utility. They may click, they may not click. They're thinking about it more. Now they're in the consideration phase. They're reading articles about energy audits. What can they do? They're learning about weatherization. Later on that night after dinner, they go to Google and they type in energy auditors near me. They're trying to figure out who out there is a supplier, who's a vendor that they can hire to have them come in and do an energy audit. And that's when we want to capture that conversion. That's when we'll hit them with a text ad. They click on that, they come back to your landing page, and they enroll. They either register for a in-person energy audit, someone that comes out to their home and walks them through and does a study of their specific usage, or they're doing what a lot of energy utilities are doing these days is online energy audits, where people can include things like the square footage of their home, what kind of appliances do they have, etc., and it will spit them out a checklist of things to do right now in their homes to start saving money on their energy bill. And that ultimately is going back to what Eric was saying, being there right now when people want it, and dealing with an impatient customer is by far and away the most effective way to handle these energy audits. So ultimately, we just want to be there, making sure that we match what your customers are looking for when they're looking for it. So as people are searching, we're using target keywords like lower my energy bill, keep my house cooler, analyze my energy usage, etc. even branded keywords, Excel energy audit. After they understand and they recognize that your energy utility is offering a energy audit that's free to them, or even at low cost, they're going to start searching for that. And so you want to be there with those branded keywords to make sure that you capture those conversions when people are ready. And then matching people by target. So who's your target customer? We can hit them with remarketing ads, people who have been to your website to either do online bill pay, or maybe who have visited the energy efficiency section or residential section of your website. We can remarket to those people. We can target them through their custom intent. So Google's got a huge catalog of custom intent audiences that we can either select from or that we can create. Energy savings could be one. And then obviously demographics. So maybe people with a lower household income who can afford spikes in their energy bills. Those people would be more apt to do an energy efficiency audit. And then obviously targeting people based on relevancy. So, if they're on web pages or visiting sites that deal with things like weatherization, energy efficient appliances, saving money, or even doing things like installing solar panels to save on energy costs. Those types of things we can hit and target people with either GDN or TrueView ads. So I'm going to have Eric kind of walk you through some additional audience targeting that we have and really go into deep detail on that and kind of walk you through what Google has access to. So Eric, you're on mute.
My apologies there. Let me go ahead and share out my screen. I think I clicked the wrong button really quickly there. Always fun with technical issues that you sometimes run into during these webinars. But yeah, would love to talk to you guys a little bit more about audience targeting. Jim alluded to some audience targeting previously, such as if someone's visited a specific page on your website, such as complete online bill pay, obviously means they might have an interest in energy efficiency audits. So thinking about ways in which we could segment the existing data that we have on our customer base and utilize that to effectively target across the entire funnel. A lot of times, folks that are new to digital or new to Google don't necessarily know about all the audience targeting options that we have available. So it's really key that we walk through them and talk through some of the various different options. So that being said, there's kind of three key buckets, as Jim has talked about today: awareness, consideration, conversion, and loyalty. I think as an energy and utility company, you want to be focusing across all three of these buckets, and Google has different audience solutions that could help you do that. So from an awareness perspective, we'll just go ahead and dive right into those specific options that we have available. So we have demographics and detailed demographics. So obviously, I think all of you have a pretty clear understanding of what demographic targeting is: age, gender, household income, location. What's great about Google is we now actually have a product called detailed demographics. So if you want to get into detail such as a homeowner versus a renter, if you want to run an energy efficiency program that might be geared towards high income individuals with a large house, or low income individuals that are looking to save money, we actually have the ability to look at level of education. We also have the ability to look at, from a parental standpoint, what types of kids do these users have, because obviously it's going to play a role in terms of the type of messaging that you convey through your advertisements to these individuals. So the detailed demographic targeting is something that we're really, really excited about because it takes demographic targeting a step further and allows us to customize our messaging to those specific demographics. Affinity audiences are awesome, right? So affinity audiences allow you to reach audiences who are interested in a particular topic based on a holistic picture of their lifestyle. So this is based upon what are they searching for on Google, what videos are they watching on YouTube, what websites are they visiting. We're able to group folks into affinity audiences. So for example, an affinity audience that I would be thinking about from for energy audits would be looking at DIYers, right? People who like to make changes and improvements to their home on a consistent basis. Maybe you create a cool video series or a cool portal on your website that talks about all the DIY improvements that you can make on your home to make it more energy efficient immediately today. So really cool stuff from an awareness perspective. I really like these these options that we have from a customer segment perspective. If we're looking at driving consideration, we have a lot more options here. And I think this is where probably most clients that advertise with Google spend a majority of their budget. The first thing is an in-market audience. So based upon searches, right, we know someone is in market for energy efficiency savings or in market for finding ways to reduce costs. There's multiple different in-market segments that we already have pre-built out as part of our targeting. I believe we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 125 different in-market audiences that Google has pre-built out and available for our advertisers to leverage to target users that are in market for a particular topic. Similar audience is great. So say, for example, you have a comprehensive CRM database and list of every single person that has completed a energy audit with your utility company over the last 12 months. We could actually utilize those emails and target users across Google that look similar to those users that have actually already completed the energy efficiency audit. We utilize this through a tool called Customer Match that basically allows us to take all of the email addresses and databases and then aggregate them, randomly protect data, and then tie them to similar users. So really think this would be super, super effective for everyone on today's webinar. The other thing that we have also is YouTube remarketing. So people who are familiar with your brand, who have visited your website, we could hit them with a video ad for your brand in order to drive deeper engagement, or hit them with a based upon if they visited an energy efficient audit part of your website, but didn't necessarily convert. We could utilize video, bring sight, sound, and motion to your energy audit process to the user and explain the benefits of doing that while they're looking at any video on YouTube. The next thing, Jim talked about this previously, but remarketing lists for search ads. So users that have been to your website before, you could bid more aggressively when they search for terms on Google related to your business that we believe they'll actually convert on and take action on, and utilize this through remarketing lists for search ads. So some examples here are someone who's visited your homepage and maybe hasn't done anything. Maybe someone's gone to a program page, hasn't actually taken the action. Or maybe someone who's abandoned a lead form for an energy audit. You want to get out in front of them again as they're maybe searching for, a way in which they could reduce their energy consumption. The next piece is we really want to focus on kind of driving conversion and loyalty. Again, we could utilize the remarketing list for search ads to do that. So basically a user that has gone to your website and is an existing customer, but they haven't actually taken action in the form of an energy audit. So we want to serve a specific message to those users. And then customer match, I talked about previously. But if you want to reach custom segments of your existing customers and then deliver a tailored message to them. So for example, if someone has signed up for paperless billing, if someone has signed up for a new account versus paying via phone or mailing in a check, right? We know that those users have an interest in improving efficiency in their daily lives in the form of how they pay you as a business. So probably it'd be best to reach out to them and serve messaging to them that is centered and focused around what can we do to further your engagement with us as an energy and utility company. So at a high level, here's kind of the summary, right? So if we want to increase program awareness, we're going to target and basically prospect things that we should be looking at from an evaluation standpoint when thinking through Google's different products. When we're thinking to increase program awareness, we want to think about video views, ad impressions on your website, total number of new visitors, landing page visits to specific programs that you're trying to advertise. When we're thinking about increasing consideration, ultimately that's getting people closer to the conversionable action that we're driving towards. So looking at people coming back to the website, thinking about people spending more time on the website, and then people having higher engagement rates and click-through rates on your paid ads. So obviously they're more aware of who you are as a business and are more likely to take action and raise their hand and want to engage with you on a more regular basis. The final piece is driving conversions and loyalty. So interacted users and converted customers. So what we're going to be looking here is we're going to be looking through actually taking action in the form of requesting an energy audit from your energy and utility company. And what we're going to want to do is when working on your campaign, we're going to look and see the users at what point throughout the funnel we touch them. And then we could optimize our campaigns and center those around the key characteristics that we saw as part of the touch point of all of these individual users that actually ended up converting and going through the process of getting an energy audit. So with that being said, I'll talk to Jim a little bit more about what it's like to partner with Xtropy and Google.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that, Eric. Let me flip over here. So yeah, partnering with us. Obviously, this is one of our passions. We love doing stuff like this. We've got some great clients who are in the energy space, and yeah, hence our webinar here today. We've got 15 years experience. We work alongside your utilities agency of record. That's really important. We've talked to a lot of agencies that say, sorry, you guys look great, but we can't work with you. We're already working with another agency. We are plug and play. We work right alongside your existing agency of record. So if you have one, we'd love to set up a call and have an introduction and figure out how we can best work together. We play really well in the sandbox. We've got millions of dollars of spend under our management. We were working with some of the largest utilities in the US, and we've got tons and tons of learnings from numerous different campaigns, some of which you can see on the right-hand side there, both residential and commercial, kind of a smattering of examples of campaigns that we've worked on the past years. And then obviously we've got a dedicated team at Google that's purely there for strategy, helping us do strategic implementations and also campaign assistance as we move forward. Eric's part of that team that we have over at Google, and so we thank Eric and everything that he and his team bring to the table. We're also a Google Premier partner, and Eric can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the Premier Partner badge is reserved for the top 5% of agencies that interact with Google. To provide context, we look at 3 key things when thinking about segmenting out our Premier partners. The first thing is we want to look at revenue growth from an overall agency level to ensure that clients are very happy with the agency that they're working with. We have a consistent year-over-year growth rate that our agencies need to maintain, meaning that they're helping grow their existing clients as well as bringing on new clients. The second piece we look at is what's called an agency health index. So we basically crawl across all of their accounts to ensure that they're adhering to the Google way of selling best practices and that their targeting for their clients is effectively and appropriately set up. And then the final piece is just certifications. We have a minimum threshold in terms of the number of Google Ads certification that Xtropy employees need to complete on a yearly basis to ensure that they are up to date on all of our products because they're constantly changing and constantly evolving on our end.
We love those certifications. It's easy. With that, thanks Eric for that. With that, I think we'll turn it over to a Q&A session. If we have any questions from our attendees, I'd love to take those. And then at the end of the Q&A session, I've got one just kind of offer that we'll offer to our attendees that are here. So Patty, do you have anything?
Yeah,
any questions?
Yeah, we've got a few questions. The first question is, I'm currently running TV ads, but having a hard time tracking the conversion rates from people requesting energy audits from my campaign. Mm-hmm. Is there anything I can do?
Yeah, that's great. And Eric, feel free to jump in here. People who are currently running traditional TV ads are going to be measuring the effectiveness of their campaigns solely on impressions. What's the reach? How many commercial impressions do we have? Things of that nature. TrueView video ads on YouTube are completely different because almost everything is measurable. Impressions, views, if they completed the view of your ad or not, if they clicked on your ad and then ultimately converted, if that video contributed to a view through conversion, meaning that they watched the ad and then converted later. There's almost everything is measurable through TrueView video ads, so it's accountable. We can allocate more budget to things that are working, obviously. And so when we see that things are working within a TrueView video tactic, we can double down on those efforts. Eric, anything to add there?
Yeah, another thing that's really important is we have a new technology that's called Brand Lift. And so what Brand Lift allows us to do is we're actually able, I'm sure some of you have been on YouTube before, and rather than served a YouTube video ad, you're actually served a survey. So what Brand Lift is able to do is we're actually able to measure a few key metrics that TV can't, such as brand interest, brand favorability, purchase intent, consideration for your brand based upon people seeing your video ads online. I think that's a huge value. A lot of companies will spend tens of thousands of dollars in order to do market research and understand how creative content informs purchase or buying decisions. And Google allows you to do that for free with YouTube video advertising. So I think that's a massive, massive benefit. Additionally, we're working on some beta formats within YouTube so that you could actually fill out lead forms without having to leave YouTube on your mobile device. I think that's a key value add and a key value proposition that we could serve from a perspective versus that of TV. So there's an immediacy of actual action that is being taken as a result of seeing video ads on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the Brand Lift surveys. We're actually running a campaign like that for one of our utility clients right now, and we're seeing a 51-cent lifted cost per user, or cost per lifted user, essentially meaning that we're building awareness for 51 cents per person. So pretty impressive results. You definitely couldn't get that with a normal broadcast TV buy.
And what's cool about that too is it's for a specific program.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Jim and I have been working together on this for a long time, and this is for just one specific program for this energy and utility company. So the goal is, hey, we apply the learnings in terms of what we see being successful from a targeting perspective on this campaign, and then based upon similar characteristics of future campaigns or future programs that they're running, we can apply the same and effective targeting methodology that really allows us to crack the code more effectively for additional offers or programs that the energy and utility company might be running later on.
Yeah, true.
Great. I've got a couple more. Here's one. I'm generating a lot of traffic on mobile, but my conversions are coming from desktop. What are some things that is possible that I can do differently on mobile?
Yeah, so great question. What Google allows us to do is bid optimize by device. And so based on the campaign type that you have and the tactic that you're running, if you are realizing that people are maybe visiting your landing page on mobile, but converting on desktop, we can actually bid optimize towards desktop and away from mobile on that particular tactic. And then on maybe the awareness tactic or the consideration tactic, we can bid up mobile and bid down desktop. So yeah, that's a common thing actually. A lot of people search for things on their phone, and then maybe they get to work and they're on a desktop computer and they actually fulfill the completion or conversion at their work desktop, or even at home later on that night. You know, if they commute, if they're taking a train to work or something, they're on a mobile device, and then they get home later that evening and they're ready to finally convert. They might often do that on their desktop machine or at their laptop sitting on a couch or at kitchen table, something like that.
Yeah, and I think that opens a discussion for also how you're attributing conversions. And so Jim and the team at Xtropy does an amazing job of utilizing what's called data-driven attribution modeling. So most people are still kind of in the stone age of utilizing a last click model for attribution. And so what that means is, for example, if a user clicked on a mobile ad and converted on desktop, if you're utilizing last click attribution, the last click you would not receive credit for that initial mobile touch point. But utilizing a data-driven attribution, Google is able to tie users across device and across the conversion funnel. So if the example that Jim alluded to earlier, so say, for example, I discover your energy and utility company while I'm on my mobile device. I'm on a train or at some point in time I can't convert, but I remember your brand off the top of my head and then go back and convert later on by just typing in your website. We'll be able to track that initial mobile touch point and that mobile search ad click back to that actual conversionable action.
Great. We've got another question. You mentioned a campaign audit. What exactly will you be able to do for us?
Yeah, so what we'd love to do is offer all the attendees here on this webinar a complimentary campaign audit. And it could be EE audit related or something different. We're passionate about paid search. And so if you have paid search campaigns running currently in market or even thinking about launching them, we'd love to give you a complimentary audit and just kind of give you some feedback on the campaign structure, what your goals and objectives are, how you're measuring them, etc. So feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on the slide, and yeah, we'd be happy to fulfill that and get you going on the right path. Yeah.
Okay, that's it in terms of questions.
Cool. Thank you everyone for attending. We really appreciate it. Again, Eric and my contact information is on the screen. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you might have, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim, for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks, Eric. Thanks,
All right,
Pat.
bye-bye.
Thank you.